If you win, you manifested it, fantastic. If you lose, you would have spent so much time imagining it that you're really going to want it. And because you're really going to want it in your mind, you're going to be more motivated to work hard than ever before. Most of you do not use your mind for what it's for. You've forgotten how to imagine things. But you cannot close your eyes and vividly imagine. You can't give yourself goosebumps. You can't evoke an emotion in yourself anymore. This is an age-old skill that humans had very recently up till social media. You should be able to close your mind and imagine the life you want to live so viscerally, so to the point where you can taste it, so that this reality, the one outside of your mind, feels like nothing but a prelude, a ramp, which allows you to get where you want to go. The mind is that powerful. If you ask any champion of anything, they always envision themselves as champion all of the time. And the reason they do that is, one, so they feel confident, but two, so that if they don't become champion, they're more angry and more motivated for the next attempt to ensure that they do become champion. So that's the mentality and the mindset you have to have. Your mind is your number one ally in all things. A lot of you have been sabotaged internally by your own mind. Your own psyche is working against you. When you have negative thoughts that prevent you from being the best version of yourself, you should understand that your mind is attempting to betray you, and you should feel disgust because you have enough enemies. There are enough people in that opposing trench trying to destroy you. If you're watching this and listening to this right now, I promise you, if I were to give a button to most humans on this planet, if I were to go up to an average man, 25-year-old man of average income anywhere in the world, and say, if you press this button, this guy's gonna die. And I'll show a picture of you holding your dog, cuddling, being a nice little boy, whatever you're doing. I'll make you look sweet and innocent. I'll say, if you press this button, this guy dies, but you get $100 million. You do understand that 99.9% of people will press that button, right? And they'll take that 100 million without remorse. They won't really think about you very much. And if they do, they'll distract themselves with a Lamborghini and with bitches. That's it. They won't care about you. There's enough people in the opposing trench who are prepared to destroy you for self-interest that the idea of you not having every single part of you on your own side is truthfully sad. You need to be in a better position than that. You cannot allow your own mind to betray you ever. It has to be 100% on side all of the time. Once your mind is on side, once every part of your psyche is on your team, that's when you can go and look for other teammates. You can expand your network of other people whose psyche is all 100% on their side, and you have a unified outlook on the world. Then you can go and get things done. But the idea of self-betrayal is something most of you are struggling with and you didn't even realize. So as a thought experiment, we're going to sit here and I want you to actually think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself? How many times have you didn't feel like doing something you knew you were supposed to do? How many times has your mind tricked you into procrastination or being lazy? How many times has your mind convinced you that it was okay to fail and lose even though you didn't try your best? How many times have you sought comfort in excuses? How many times have you betrayed yourself? Don't worry about your enemies attempting to crush you. That's another conversation. If you actually analyze most of your failures, you're going to see the majority of them come from self-sabotage. And once you're in a position like me where you never betray yourself, where your mind never lets you down, ever. My mind knew exactly what I had to do. I did not miss a single day's training. I did not lose my mind. I did not go mental. I did not have a breakdown. I acted exactly as I was supposed to act. I was fully professional in all things. I got as much work done as I could possibly do. I was extremely productive. I used the experience for what it was. My mind never betrayed me. If you listen and look back on most of your failures, you're going to see that it was your own mind that betrayed you. It wasn't your enemies that tricked you. It wasn't your enemies that outmaneuvered you or outsmarted you. Most of you are not yet at high enough echelon to even have enemies of caliber. You were simply self-betraying. And until you identify that pattern and get yourself in the habit of ensuring that is impossible, then you're always going to lose against people who fully believe in themselves. You know, one of the things that stupid people have that makes stupid people quite successful sometimes is irrational self-belief. And the smarter you are, sometimes the harder it is to irrationally believe in yourself. But if you're dumb enough, you can be arrogant enough to have this irrational self-belief, and you will see some people be very successful and you say, how is this idiot successful? Because they're so stupid that they don't consider the idea of failure. Their mind isn't advanced enough. They are not cognitive enough to consider betraying their own being. They only see outside. They don't self-reflect. If you're intelligent enough to self-reflect, you need to do it so that you can come up with feedback so that you can constantly improve, but be very aware of the trouble that can come from a mind that's not 100% on your side. My mind is 100% on my side in all ways. If I have to do something difficult, even if my body can't do it, my mind believes I can do it all the time. And you'd be amazed how much of life, even in the physical realm, is mental. If you believe you can run a marathon, you can run a marathon. If you don't believe you can run a marathon, you can't run a marathon. Because a marathon is hard. And by believing in it, by truly believing you can do it, then you will your body to a different level than if you don't believe you can do it. It's the same with absolutely all things, including making money, including the gym, including dealing with mental struggle. Anxiety is self-betrayal. Panic is self-betrayal. Procrastination is self-betrayal. Laziness is self-betrayal. Lacking motivation is self-betrayal. All of these things are self-betrayal. Most of you, your largest enemy on the planet today is yourself. You are the one who is destroying your own prospects because you don't have your own mind under control. And one of the things that's crazy about the world is your mind is one of the few things you can control. You can't control very much else. You can only control your mind. It's the only thing you have control over. So if you don't control it absolutely, you're going through life with no control over anything. You don't control your own mind, which means by extension, you do not control your life, you do not control your woman, you do not control the weather, you don't control nothing. You're just an empty vessel going through life with zero control over anything. You can control, once your mind's in check, your reaction and attitude to things. When you're in the trenches, there's people who give up, there's people who quit, there's people who sow FUD, there's people who feel sorry for themselves, there's people who want an easy way out, and there's other people who say, listen, this is a test, and the only way we're gonna get this done is to be irrationally positive all of the time. He's like, well, what can I do about the price of Bitcoin? Perhaps nothing. But the universe may reward you karmically if you at least try to do something positive. Go for a walk, go for a run, burn some calories. Why don't you go down to the nearest grocery store and buy the old lady's groceries? How about that? You're unhappy that Bitcoin's gone down. Fine. What I recommend you do, although you may not understand this because you don't see them as linked, but karmically, all things are linked inside of this universe. Go down to the local grocery store and buy some groceries for an old lady. That's what you should do to fix the Bitcoin price. Now, will that genuinely affect the Bitcoin price? I don't know. It's amazing how this world works. Perhaps in some strange version of events, that slight delay in her thanking you and her getting in the car ends up leading to an increase in the Bitcoin price. But even if it doesn't, perhaps you'll learn something about not being so attached to money. Perhaps you'll feel grateful and understand you have a lot more spare money than you thought in the first place. Perhaps your attitude to the world will change, which will allow you to be more open-minded so that you can approach opportunities in a different way so that you make more money later on. Karmically, it's impossible for us to tangibly link how that positive action will lead into something else positive in your life later on. We just have to have faith that it will, because it will. So when I said this to this guy, he's like, LOL. That's his reply. He replied LOL when I said he should go buy groceries for somebody. And he doesn't understand the world. And I thought, well, why don't I go speak to thousands of people and talk positive then? Not to save him, but just to put my money where my mouth is, just to prove that you can just do something good. And if you just do something good, it is better than doing nothing. Rain dances work. If you need it to rain, you shouldn't sit and pray. You shouldn't sit and hope. You shouldn't sit and complain that it's not raining. You shouldn't sit and wait. you should rain dance. Does a rain dance make clouds appear? No, but you should take action. Perhaps your rain dance, although will not make clouds appear, will be viewed by a tribe high on the mountain far away, and they'll look down seeing you rain dance and realize that you need water. And then maybe Providence and luck will have this tribesman appear with big barrels of water saying, we think you might need water and we have some spare. If you didn't rain dance, they wouldn't know. They just see you sitting around being a mopey dipshit, crying his eyes out. That's why it's so important to take action in all things. Action solves all. Raw action is the answer. Raw action solves all. It is a mindset. So this dipshit complaining about this crypto price, he's not prepared to rain dance. He's not prepared to help a granny with her groceries. He's not prepared to do anything. God does not reward men that way. God rewards men who attack the world. You have to go and get things. You have to show that you deserve them. Even in mating, men go get the woman. Men go get money. Men go take land. Men go. We go and happen to the world. The world doesn't happen to us. What did we say earlier about if you try your absolute best, you can always find the W even in the L? I tried my absolute best, so I win. Raw action solves all. If you had that kind of attitude, you wouldn't be looking at a crypto price and sitting there praying and hoping like a dork. You'd be doing something about it. Oh, I need your help. Do you? I don't even see you trying. And that's how God views things. That's how, in fact, most wealthy people view things. I haven't seen you do anything that warrants me giving you a second of my help. People feel like rich people are horrible because we don't help the normies. Even if you try and help normies, most of them are beyond help because they are self-sabotaging and lazy. You have to at least show to the people who are important in the world that you're not those things in the beginning if you ever want to be taken seriously, at least. That's one of the first things you can do. But I want to see that you give a shit. I only want to give money to people who know how to rain dance. I only want to give money to people who sit and believe that the rain dance is the answer. I like rain dancers. I like people who sit and say, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to do something. I don't know what to do, so I'm going to just do something positive. I don't know how to make Bitcoin go up. I'm going to buy an old lady groceries. I don't know what to do, but inaction in and of itself is an action. And men of honor do not allow the universe to decide for them. There's a version of you that never sleeps in, never skips training, never wastes time. There's a version of you who never fails. It is waiting for you. Genuinely ask yourself a question, you at home. If you had done those things for the last 2 years, you never skipped a training, you never wasted time, you never scrolled TikTok, you never sat aimlessly on the internet typing in garbage, never played video games, you never wasted time. You never skipped training, you were training every single day. You never slept in, you were never lazy. There's this version of you. Imagine the person you would be. Genuinely imagine what you would look like. Imagine where you would live. Imagine the car you would drive. Imagine how much your woman would respect you. Imagine the love you would see in her eyes when she looks at you with adoration like a king. Imagine your existence. That person is waiting for you. And the only thing that's stopping you from being that person is your monumental laziness. You can have it. The universe is very giving. It will give you anything you work for. I've never seen somebody try for something with all of their might and not get it. The only people who do not have the things they want are the people who do not try for them. I've never seen a person wake up and say, my only dedication in life is to solve a Rubik's Cube and fail. You are not stupid. You are not incompetent. You are lazy and arrogant. It's extremely important you understand that that person is waiting for you and you are declining that version of yourself. In the multiverse, in the many different versions of the universe that exist, there is a version of you that does those exact things. And he is a greater person than you can even fathom. You can transform yourself into that guy. You can be a top G. That's exactly what I did. I knew who I was going to have to end up being before I became that person. My brother and I are not from rich families. We are not from advantaged beginnings. But I knew I had to be a big, strong, fighting billionaire. That's what I knew I had to be. Discipline is the key to success. If you cannot force yourself to do something you don't want to do, how are you ever going to put yourself through the suffering required for greatness? If you cannot force yourself to train when you do not want to train, if you cannot force yourself to work when you don't want to work, if you can't force yourself to not log into Pornhub or force yourself to eat right, how can you possibly ever become a monumentally successful person if you cannot control yourself long enough to do what must be done as opposed to what you feel like doing? The only people who get to live their lives based on how they feel are women and children. Children can cry because they feel like crying, as can a woman. A woman can start an argument because she feels like arguing, as can a child. A man must do what he is supposed to do irregardless of how he feels. That is the key component to masculinity, is discipline. If you do not have the discipline to dedicate yourself to anything, you are going to fail and be crushed by the people who can. If you only go to the gym when you feel like going to the gym, you're never going to be as strong as the people who go to the gym when they don't feel like going to the gym.
You can call me Detective Alex Cross. You're not in my head. Oh, I'm definitely living rent-free.
Hey! Right here, right now. We'll show you how.
The Mazda CX-90 comes standard with a turbo inline-6 and all-wheel drive.
I don't think most of you realize that you do not have time. Everything is time. Time can be converted into anything. We all know time can be converted into money. People say often, time is money. This is true. Money is also time. You spend money to save time. Time is the enemy of the rich man, so he takes a private jet to save time. Money is the enemy of a poor man, so he waits for the bus to save money. But they're the same thing, money and time. So when I say you don't have time, this is something you need to remember because it's extremely important and you can apply it to most things. You do not have time to have a headache. Do you understand? I'm not saying you don't have a headache. I'm not saying your head doesn't hurt. But you don't have time for it to affect your life. You do not have the waking hours. You are being outcompeted and crushed by people who are more powerful and more connected than you'll possibly ever be. By people who know things you do not know. You do not have time to have a headache. It's simply not acceptable. How do you perform when you have headaches is a stupid question. The fact you've even framed it in that way shows that you don't understand the world. You don't have time. You have things to do. There's unlimited work in the universe. You don't have time to have a headache or message girls or scroll Instagram. You don't have time for any of these things. Time is your lifeblood. It's all you've got. You can turn time into reputation. You could turn time into global fame. You could turn time into respect. You could turn time into a fantastic body. You could do anything with your time. You can turn your time into anything you want. So how are you going to waste it sitting around saying, I have a headache? Boo boo, I have a headache. But the question is framed incorrectly. If I have a headache, I don't care. And one of the main reasons I don't care is because my enemy doesn't care. You know, when I got injured when I was training for fights, my coach would often say to me, is your enemy going to hit you less or show you mercy because of this injury? If you say, okay, we're about to fight, but halfway through the training camp, I hurt my foot, so, take it easy. No, he's going to try and destroy me anyway. So if he doesn't care, why do I care? And why does my coach care? Nobody cares. They don't care that you have a headache, so why do you care? You need to reprogram your mind. You don't have time to have a headache. You don't have time to be doing the majority of things you do. A lot of you deserve the failure you endure. The universe is very giving. I often believe, people say the world's not fair. I'd argue that karmic retributions, and in the long run, all in all, is pretty fair. Karmic retributions are real. In the end, God gives you exactly what you deserve. So if you're not happy with your life, you have to ask yourself, do you really deserve more? Have you really tried 100% of the time? Did you ignore that headache? Are you as competent as you could possibly be? Have you given 100% every time you've done anything? No. You deserve what you have. You deserve your mediocrity because you're an average person. You want a Lambo and these women and a boat and whatever else you want because you see it on Instagram, but wanting something and deserving something are very different things. If you truly deserved it, you'd be working for it in a way that ensures it would be given to you by the universe. Every single thing I've ever wanted, I have got. Maybe not instantly, maybe not easily. In fact, certainly not both. It was always difficult and it always took time, but I really wanted them, so I always got them. And I put in enough work to show God and show the universe I deserved them, so he gave them to me. I cannot remember a single time, And I state this as a matter of fact, this is not hyperbole. I cannot remember a single time I have ever decided not to do something that must be done because I had a headache. Ever. It is easier if you enjoy it, because you do not struggle with lack of motivation or lack of interest. For me to say you could honestly be world champion at something you hate is a lie. You can, however, be competent at things you don't like. You can be very good at something you don't like doing. To be the best in the world, you probably have to fall in love with it. But the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And you can fall in love with the idea of being good in general. So anything I do, I don't want to be bad at. I either don't do it or I try my very best all the time to become extremely good at it. I don't see the point in doing anything and being mediocre or being bad at it. What's the point? If I'm going to speak on podcasts, I want to be good at it. Anything I'm going to do, I want to be good at. Now, you should have enough respect for yourself that you're prepared to always put in the effort to give your best 100% because it is a habit. You should always give your best to anything you do. When you pick up a video game, you should give your best. Discipline is absolutely essential for success, and you need to get very comfortable and very used to the idea of understanding that on your path to greatness, there are going to be long periods of time where you hate what you are doing, where you are dissatisfied with the actions you must undertake, where you are tired, where you are stressed. That is why it is difficult. That is why most people won't make it. If the path was easy, everybody would walk it and it would lead nowhere. 100 people start the path, 99 fall off because it is difficult, and the one person who makes it to the end gets the gold. If all 100 made it to the end and the gold was divided by 100, it wouldn't even be worth anything. The difficulty gives it value. The fact that it is difficult to do is the key component into the fact you want it in the first place. If it wasn't difficult, everyone would have it and you wouldn't want it because no one would respect it. It's supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to think this is terrible. You're supposed to suffer and smile through the pain regardless. Discipline is the key to success in all realms as a man. And if you lack it, you stand no chance. You can give most people a roadmap to success. You can give them a Ferrari with a full tank of gas, and a lot of people still wouldn't make the destination because they would say the drive is too far away. Quitters, they don't have the discipline. You can tell them exactly how to do it, you can give them the mechanism to get there, but they don't have the discipline to complete the drive and end up at the destination. That is the majority of Earth. This is your competition. People who, even if they are told what to do, and people tell them exactly how to do it and help them do it, still quit, still fail because they lack discipline. Even me, with my monumental powers, I can't make a quitter successful.